Howdy, and welcome to LeeReads, where I talk about the books I've been reading and enjoying lately. We have reached the end of the year, and so just like last year, we're going to do my favorite books chosen tournament style. So I'm going to pit a list of my favorite books against each other and see what comes out on top. I'm starting with 60-something of the books that I've read this year, focusing on ones that are science fiction or fantasy or have those elements, and eliminating the books that are rereads. The fun thing about this is that sometimes two books that I really, really love come up against each other and I have to make a choice. In my first round, which I did off camera just for brevity's sake because we have a lot of books to get through, I did have some tough matchups, some hard choices. For example, System Collapse went up against Nettle and Bone, and that's Murderbot versus Teen Kingfisher. That's really hard, but in this case, Nettle and Bone won. I also had Empire of Exiles go up against Darkwater Daughter, and I chose Darkwater Daughter. And another one was The Book That Wouldn't Burn versus The Diviners, and I chose The Diviners. Now, after doing round one, we're gonna pair up the books for round two and see which books emerge victorious. It's going to be gut instinct. What did you really love? There's going to be some painful, tough choices ahead of us, and let's go. In the books for round two, first off, we have Paladin's Faith, which is the most recent book in the Saint of Steels, versus The Blighted Stars. Already I'm on the struggle bus here. I think I'm going to have to go with The Blighted Stars, though. The Diviners versus Day of Fallen Night. That one's pretty easy. I loved The Diviners. Curse of the Chalion versus The Tyranny of Faith. I loved Cav, Curse of the Chalion. Darkwater Daughter versus Dragonflight. I think these are about the same. I'm going to go with Dragonflight because I found myself thinking about that one a lot while I was reading it. The City and the City versus Yellowface. It's going to A City in the City. Children of Ruin to Hunter's Oath. It's got to be Children of Ruin. Fourth Wing versus The Will of the Many. The Will of the Many. The Fractured Dark to Witch King. Witch King. Discovery of Witches to Thornhedge. That's hard because Thornhedge is so short. I think it's got to go to Discovery of Witches. There's just a lot more to that story, even though I found Thornhedge charming. Talon Sister versus Nettle and Bone. Talon Sister. I feel like I've betrayed Teen Kingfisher with that one. Rubicon versus the Hurricane Wars. Rubicon. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches and Strange the Dreamer. Strange the Dreamer, for sure. And these two are quite different. The Serpent and the Wings of Night and Persuasion. Persuasion. That was round two. Now I've got to sort out round three. I need to make this a little clearer. This isn't like a very normal bracket sizing, but that's okay. The Blighted Stars and the Diviners. Oh, the Blighted Stars. Sorry, Diviners. Curse of the Chalion versus Dragonflight. Curse of the Chalion. The City and the City versus Children of Ruin. You know, I just realized Children of Memory isn't on this list. Whoops. Let me say Children of Ruin / Children of Memory. I think that the Children of Time trilogy would take it over The City and the City, even though I really liked The City and the City. Look at me bending the qualifications there. The Will of the Many versus Witch King. It's going to The Will of the Many. A Discovery of Witches versus Talon Sister. Discovery of Witches. That one's just really fun. Rubicon versus Strange the Dreamer. Strange the Dreamer. And then I guess somewhere did I miss one because I have an odd number? Hold on. I messed it up. Okay. Well, whatever. Dragonflight versus Persuasion. It's actually going to be Persuasion. Why did I do this to myself? Okay, my final 7 I have are Blighted Stars, Curse of the Chalion, Children of Ruin / Memory, Will of the Many, Discovery of Witches, Strange the Dreamer, and Persuasion. And just for simplicity, I'm going to pull Persuasion out because it is such a different novel compared to the other ones. Even though I really enjoyed it, it wasn't going to win anyway. So, Jane Austen, kudos to you, but I'm pulling you out of my final 6. Sorry! Now we're down to the final 6, just so we have even numbers. The Blighted Stars versus Curse of the Challion is one of those really painful matchups. As much as I liked the characters and the world building aspects in The Blighted Stars, I just really admired the characters and that fantasy feel of the Curse of the Challion, so that one's going to be victorious. Children of Ruin / Memory versus The Will of the Many. It's going to The Will of the Many. Discovery of Witches versus Strange the Dreamer. Strange the Dreamer. I just realized I could do Persuasion as like my buy one, so that makes sense. Final 4. Curse of the Challion versus Will of the Many. Will of the Many. The thing that makes the Will of the Many win out is the very interesting and unique magic system with the will. You've got the subterfuge. I really love how the school system is set up. It's ruthless, but I really understand why the characters are doing what they're doing. There's twists and turns. So it edges out Curse of the Challion just a little, as much as it hurts me to say it, but I still think you should read Curse of the Challion. Strange the Dreamer versus Persuasion is going to be Strange the Dreamer. The writing style is so lyrical. The story is heart-wrenching. The world building is great. The way that you explore the story, like the way the pieces start making sense as you flow through it, the way I felt when I finished reading it, makes it top Persuasion, which is, you know, a Jane Austen kind of social commentary story, but it's just not as emotionally impactful as Strange the Dreamer. The championship round of my ridiculous book tournament for 2023 is The Will of the Many by James Islington versus Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. And I can only pick one. I can only pick one. Don't want to. The Will of the Many just edges out Strange the Dreamer for rereadability, and it's more in line with my favorite types of books and the types of books that I normally read. I don't know if I would reread Strange the Dreamer, and even though I want to read the second book in the duology, I haven't yet, because that's how much my heart hurt when I finished Strange the Dreamer. Whereas when the next book in The Will of the Many comes out, I want to pick that one up right away. So I think I am a lot more, not invested in the world, but happy to visit that world compared to this one. There's a lot of trauma in here. So overall, The Will of the Many was a more fun reading experience. So that's my 2023 book tournament. It's painful. There's a lot of books I really liked that I didn't even talk about in this video because they just happened to get beat out in round 1. But I think that makes this one so fun because it shakes it up a little bit and it's a little bit more unpredictable than if I were to just like rank top books from the year. You never know what's gonna happen in the LeeReads book tournament. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this fun. Please tell me what your top book of the year was. And as always, don't forget to support your local library.